Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Ruz Beshad. This is the 10th part of the series on how to develop a software application and the first part of creating a pagination component. In this video and the next few ones, I'll show you how to develop a fully functional pagination component from start to finish, which can then be integrated into and used by the grid component. I'll also explain how to use JavaScript interoperability in our Blazor application, which takes it to the next level, making it more powerful and flexible. Since this is a fairly large task, I split it into several videos. So in this one, I'll just explain the user interface design, and in the next videos, I'll show you how to make it operational. Before starting the main job, let's take a look at what we'll finally have after covering these videos. As you can see, our pagination component has 4 buttons for navigation between pages. In addition to the navigation buttons, there's a text box that allows the user to enter a valid custom page number. There's also a page size drop-down box that allows the user to select different page sizes to fit the items shown on a page. Along with the page size list, there's a text box that allows the user to enter a desired value other than what is in the list. This can be a positive integer even greater than the total number of items. Note that in our example, the total number of categories is 8, but you can set the page size to a number bigger than that, like 50. As a reminder, it's good to note that setting the page size to a value greater than the total number of items is allowed and not harmful. On the right, it shows the range of items that are currently displayed on the screen, plus the total number of items. Finally, it has a refresh button which is used to refresh the current page and display the up-to-date data. To test the refresh button while data is being displayed on the grid, we can update it in another software application, for example SSMS, and then click on the refresh button to see the result. It's good to know that there are different styles of pagination component. They all have the same function, which is navigation between pages. I chose this one because I thought it was handy and more useful, because among other things, it enables you to enter a custom page number and page size. You will see that this component is made of a combination of Razor, which itself consists of HTML and C#, along with Bootstrap, custom CSS, and JavaScript. This is a beautiful and instructive example of how we can combine these tools and programming languages to create a powerful and reusable component that I'll explain it in detail for you. You can use the content and source code introduced in this series in your software. The big advantage of such a component is that you have complete control over it and can easily customize it. Now that you have a background of what we are going to do, let's go to the Visual Studio and open our northwind.ui.components project. From the previous video, you remember that we created this project as a repository for our UI components. Right-click on the project and select Add New Item from the shortcut menu. On the Add New Item dialog box, select the Razor component in the middle pane and enter Pagination as the name for your component. Click on the Add button to add it to the project and close the dialog box. Before adding any content to our Pagination component, let's prepare it for separating code and markup. So, add a new partial class with the full name of the component to the project. Now go to your web browser and Google for Bootstrap Pagination. Click on this link to go to the Pagination topic on the Bootstrap website. If you look around this page, you'll see an overview of the Pagination besides different features that can be added or applied to it. Let's copy the sample snippet provided for working with icons. Go back to Visual Studio and paste it into the newly added Pagination component. Since our Pagination component isn't having page number buttons, let's delete these ones. Now let's make some changes to the markup. First, add a title attribute to each button so that a toolbar containing a brief description of the function of that button is displayed when the mouse cursor is hovered on the button. Second, copy the buttons to create the first and last buttons with a bit of editing. Third, add a Pagination-SM class to the UL element to make the buttons smaller and more beautiful. Finally, get better icons for the buttons. To do this, search for the Bootstrap icons on the web. Click this link to go to the Bootstrap icons page. Here is an icon library containing 1600 icons at the time of this video. There are other icon libraries that you can use, but I'd rather use this collection because we already have Bootstrap installed in our project and it's easy to use. To find the proper icons, you can either look around this page or enter words such as start, left, and so on in the text box to filter the list. Here, I've entered the word start, for example, and I'll select this one. Let's open it in another tab. As you see, there are different ways of using it. My preference is to use the icon font, so copy and paste it into your markup this way. By the way, before I forget, it's better to correct this label, which is used by assistive technology, such as screen readers. Okay, do the same instruction for the other buttons. You can filter the icon list by entering words like left, right, and end. I leave finding the icons to you. Here is the markup after putting all the icons in place. So far, we've found and put our icons in place, but that's not enough. We also have to install them in our project. On the icons page, after the icons list, there's an instruction on how to install and use them. I prefer to use CDN. As you see, it provides two ways, either by putting a link element in the head section of your index.html page, or by using an import rule at the top of your external style sheet. Let's do the first one and copy this link. Next, open the index.html file under the www root folder of the northwind.web project. Paste it right after the link tag for the Bootstrap style sheet, and finally save the file. Before making further changes, let's test our pagination. We need to add it to the grid component, so open it. We can add a tfoot element to the table and put the pagination in it. Or we can add the pagination right after the table. To keep things simple, let's do the latter one. Run the application by pressing the F5 key. So far, so good. You may have noticed that the previous and next button icons do not match the first and last button icons very well, but that doesn't matter. If you don't like it, you can use other icons, other font libraries, or even create and use your own icons. Alright, from now on, I want us to be able to see the reflection of every change we make in the program in the browser without stopping the program. To do this, first let's put the browser and Visual Studio side by side. Now it's time to add other stuff to our pagination component. Let's begin with the page size. First of all, add another li element right after the last one. It's going to include the page size stuff. As you see from this picture, it consists of a label, a text box, and the drop-down box attached to the text box. So I'm going to use a Bootstrap input group for it. Let's search for the Bootstrap input group on the net. click on this link and you'll be redirected to the input group page. On this page, you'll find a variety of examples and features of the input groups. Let's choose buttons with drop-downs for our page size in the pagination component. Copy this fragment of markup first. Then go back to the pagination component and paste it into the last li element that we just created. Now make the following changes to the markup. First, remove the button caption because we don't need it. Second, change the anchor labels to the page size values like this: 5, 10, 20, 50, and all. Third, add a label for the page size with a text like rows per page, items per page, page size, or anything you like better. I'll choose page size, so also style your label with the Bootstrap call form label class to make it more beautiful. To see the result for the latest changes in the UI while the app is running, click on the Hot Reload button in Visual Studio, a nice feature that has been added to .NET 6 and Visual Studio 2022. You can see that the page size is not the same size as the other elements on the page. So let's adjust its size by adding the following Bootstrap classes. It's the turn of the page number. As you see from the image, it consists of a label, a text box, and another label at the end. I'll be using another input group for this part of the component. So, put the following markup between the previous and next buttons. Note that pages in the square brackets is a placeholder and will be replaced with the real number of pages later. The next thing is a text indicating the range of items, including the starting and ending items that are currently displayed, plus the total number of items in the grid. For this part, we'll use another li element including a label like the following. Note that start, end, and items in the square brackets are placeholders and will be replaced with the real values later. Finally, we'll have a refresh button. It's like the navigation buttons with a little bit of change in the text and icon. So let's copy and paste one of those buttons and make the required changes to it. Okay, let's click on the Hot Reload button to see the changes we have made so far in action. Well, the structure looks good, but it needs some styling. Before styling our component, let's try the page size drop-down. Well, you can see a problem there. It doesn't work. Why is that? Let's search for the Bootstrap drop-downs on the net. On the Overview section, you'll see this description. Drop-downs are built on a third-party library, popper.js, which provides dynamic positioning and viewport detection. Be sure to include popper.min.js before Bootstrap's JavaScript, or use bootstrap.bundle.min.js, which contains popper.js. Now go to the Bootstrap main page. Make sure you've selected version 4, which is used in our project. On the introduction page and under the JS section, you'll see the following description. Many of our components require the use of JavaScript to function. Specifically, they require jQuery, Popper, and our own JavaScript plugins. So, copy the scripts under the bundle section and according to the instruction, paste it near the end of the index.html page under the www root folder. Okay, try it once again by clicking on the drop-down button. Nice! Now it's time to style the component. I want to create a CSS file specific to this component only. In such situation, create a CSS file with the same name as your component. So, right-click on the project and select Add New Item from the shortcut menu. On the Add New Item dialog box, select the style sheet in the middle pane and name it pagination.razor.css. Finally, click on the Add button to add it to the project and close the dialog box. You'll see that the style sheet is added under the Pagination component. Run the application for the last time. As the first style, let's make some blank space around the labels. So, add the following CSS rule. Then, adjust the size of the text boxes and also make some blank space between the navigation buttons. If you like, you can make the navigation buttons circle shape by applying the following CSS declaration. Keep in mind that if the width and height of an element are the same, then applying this CSS declaration makes it circle shape, otherwise the shape would be like an ellipse. I also want to make the first text box corners and the second one left corners rounded. We have bootstrap classes for that, so let's apply them to the markup. Save the changes to see what the result will be. That's nice. Now click on the page size drop-down. There are 3 things that I want to improve on. First, the item sizes are not proportional to the size of other elements on the pagination component. To make them the same size, I'd use the following CSS rule. The second thing is that I want to align the list with the right side of the button. There's a class for it in Bootstrap called dropdown-menu-right, so apply it to the markup. The last thing is that I want to make the width of the list the same as some of the widths of text box and the widths of button. So add the following CSS rule to the pagination style sheet. As the final change to the pagination component, I want to move this part to the right side of the screen. To do this, add ml-auto bootstrap class to this li element. Yeah, much better. Okay, the pagination UI design is now complete. In the following videos, we'll see how to make it operational by adding C# and JavaScript code and making the required changes to our projects. That's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions regarding the content of the videos, I'd be happy to discuss them with you in the comment sections. If you like this video, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the following video.